Let me start with the Warriors over Memphis. So Draymond Green got ejected. That felt, as Draymond Green said, a little bit of a reputation ejection. I always laugh when fans say the NBA is rigged. The officiating was not great yesterday, and it really favored Memphis. There's no way you would be rigging this series for Memphis, which has no history of driving TV ratings. You would not be rigging the playoffs against Steph Curry, who I think there's something to indicate he's the number one draw in the league right now from a TV perspective. I think it's not LeBron anymore. I think it's Steph. There's a little LeBron fatigue. But loud home crowds right on the referees, college and pro, I think can sway officials on 4 or 5 calls. I thought Memphis got every call and still lost. In fact, I thought 4 or 5 things happened yesterday. They all went in Memphis's favor, and they still lost. So to me, game 1 was the series. So Klay Thompson missed clanked 2 late free throws. Doesn't happen much. Draymond got ejected. He's your best defensive player, the heart and soul of the team after Steph Curry. Steph Curry missed 4 or 5 open threes down the stretch. The officiating went in Memphis's direction. And also, Jaren Jackson had 33 and 6 threes for Memphis. I'm going to go with that's not going to happen again in the series. And Ja Morant's amazing, but he hit 4 threes. That's as many as he hit in the entire Minnesota series. So Memphis was getting all sorts of threes they don't normally get. They got officiating breaks. Draymond got ejected. Steph and Klay did things they never do. And Memphis, with a minute left, had the lead and blew it. So that felt like the series. The other thing you saw with that series, and this is where it's the difference between guys that have been in this league forever and kids. Golden State is so patient and so smart. Is there ever been a team that finds the open three-point shooter more than Golden State? I mean, that ball movement is so clever. I mean, the only remarkable thing was they kept missing the threes, but God, do they move the ball? It is art. And so I thought that was a tough loss for Memphis. That's the one you got to steal. Now Golden State, I just don't see Memphis duplicating that three-point barrage, and I don't see Draymond getting ejected in multiple games down the stretch. Here was Draymond after the game talking about his ejection.
The playoffs are a little tougher and not as soft as the regular season, and that, you can bump a little more and you get away with a little more, I think tonight was probably a reputation thing more so than a hard foul. By definition, if we go through the definition of a flagrant 2 foul, I'm not sure that play would quite be the definition of a flagrant foul. I'm not sure it would meet that criteria.
So it is a flagrant foul. I didn't feel it was a flagrant 2, which gets you ejected. But, a lot of people felt it was a go either way call. I think in the Bay Area, they don't eject him. In Memphis, they eject him. The sport's not rigged, but home crowds, the fans are on top. They sway it. It's emotional. And it was a fantastic game. The NBA playoffs have been absolutely wonderful. So, remember how Boston totally flummoxed KD and Kyrie? That's what Milwaukee did to Boston yesterday. And it tells you what Milwaukee is. This is what championship teams do. Milwaukee makes you play their game. Boston made the Nets play their game. Milwaukee said, that's cute. Now you're going to play our game. Boston has no chance to score inside. They're going to be very perimeter-based in this series, and I do think they'll shoot their way to several wins. I don't think it will be 4, probably 2, maybe 3. But what we're looking at now with Giannis, and I always liked Giannis. He was a great kid, but I was like, years ago, I'm like, everybody said he's going to take the league over like LeBron. And I'm like, well, LeBron runs the offense. He's the de facto point guard. He's a great facilitator. But Giannis is gotten so good at facilitating and passing. He's gotten better at shooting. We are looking at a longer, taller version of LeBron in his prime. They run the entire offense through both. You surround them with shooters. They can facilitate. Other great players. Embiid needs somebody to start the offense. Tatum, better with a point guard. Kawhi, better off the ball. And those are great players. So Giannis has become LeBron to me. He's the best offensive closer on the floor, the best overall offensive player. It's not Durant, it's Giannis because he can score out or in with authority. He can facilitate. He's the best closer. He's got a high IQ. He also understands. He's got a keen understanding of when to turn it on and what the team needs. So Chris Middleton gets hurt. Shocker. He's averaged 8 assists since then. That is so LeBron, it's painful. And since, by the way, Middleton has been hurt, the Bucks have won by 30, 24, 16, and 12. And I mean that thing yesterday was not close. It was not close. Had Giannis not missed several gimmies early, it would have been a blowout sooner. So, and a great example of this is Al Horford was really, really good and effective against Brooklyn. He was irrelevant yesterday. He was irrelevant. That's because great clarifies. LeBron always did that. Is Derrick Rose really the MVP? Are these teams in the East any good? And you'd be like, nah, LeBron swept them. And that's what I always said about Andrew Luck, the quarterback. Can you come into the NFL with an average roster and win? And Andrew Luck won 11 games with a garbage roster. It's like, yeah, if you're good, you can. It clarifies. And that's what Giannis is doing. He is eliminating Boston's inside game. He's really basically turned them into a perimeter team, and they're good enough and well-coached enough and have good enough players. Now, Marcus Smart is now hurt. He'll play, but he's hurt. That is bad news for Boston. Tatum's the best player. I could argue Marcus Smart's the soul of the team. But I think what we're watching is, and I really noticed it at the end of the playoffs last year. I always thought Giannis was great, but at the end of the playoffs last year, a couple of those, can he close? Can he hit the jumper late? Can he hit free throws late? Check, check, check. This is the best player in the league. He should be the MVP. You could give it to him for 8 to 10 straight years. He won't win it because NBA voters tend to, they like new and fresh stories. I get it. The media likes, new and different. But this is the best player in the league, and he's clarifying everything. And if you have any questions about, does this work or that work, Giannis will give you an answer. They're better without Middleton against Chicago. And that thing yesterday, Boston's a good team, and Boston's a well-coached team, and they were completely, utterly out of sorts in the first half offensively. Could just not find their way because of one guy.